to the Lemurian awakening, ancient bloodlines rising. Opening hook. What if your DNA held the memory of an ancient civilization, one that didn't just disappear but chose to hide? A civilization of beings so deeply connected to the earth, the stars, and each other that they lived in harmony beyond anything we can imagine today. Their name was Lemuria. While mainstream history dismisses them as myth, whispers of their existence have never truly vanished. Across the globe, from Hawaii to the Himalayas, legends, artifacts, and even genetic clues suggest they once walked this earth, and they might still live through us. But here's the question no one dares to ask. What if the Lemurians never died out? What if their bloodlines continued, hidden, silent, waiting? And now, in our time of planetary crisis and spiritual awakening, what if those bloodlines are being activated? This isn't just a history lesson. It's a revelation. Over the next 25 minutes, we'll explore ancient migrations, activation symptoms, spiritual signals, and the subtle awakening happening within millions around the world. You may think you're just curious, but some part of you already knows. You've felt it, haven't you? The sense that you're here for something more, something ancient. Stay with me. What you're about to remember may change your life. Praetor Chapter 1. The Lost Civilization of Lemuria. Long before Atlantis rose to glory, before the pyramids pierced the sky, before Babylon ruled the ancient world, there was Lemuria, known to some as Mu. Lemuria is said to have been an enormous landmass stretching across the Pacific Ocean, connecting parts of present-day Asia, Polynesia, and the Americas. But Lemuria was more than just a place. It was a state of consciousness. Unlike Atlantis, which was largely mind-centered and driven by technology, Lemuria was rooted in the heart. The Lemurians were masters of emotional intelligence, telepathy, and energy healing. They lived in harmony with Earth and all its beings, guided by love, intuition, and unity. The evidence hidden in plain sight. Mainstream science has long rejected Lemuria as pseudoscientific myth. But if we dig deeper, beyond the textbook histories, we find something intriguing. Legends and oral histories from dozens of unrelated cultures speak of an ancient sunken homeland. In India, the Tamil people speak of Kumari Kandam. In Polynesia, there are myths of Hawaii, a motherland now lost beneath the waves. In esoteric teachings, Lemuria is remembered as the cradle of spiritual humanity. According to these traditions, the Lemurians had crystalline DNA, far more complex than ours today. They were capable of telepathic communication, energy healing, communion with higher dimensional beings, vibrational construction using sound, deep communion with Earth's consciousness. Their society was matriarchal or egalitarian, deeply attuned to the sacred feminine, emphasizing emotional truth over intellectual dominance. The Great Transition. So what happened to them? Many accounts speak of a slow transformation as Earth's vibration began to shift due to planetary cycles, cosmic alignments, or interference from other forces. Lemuria began to dissolve both physically and energetically. But this wasn't a sudden cataclysm like Atlantis. It was a transition, a chosen transformation. Lemurian elders, sensing the change, decided to preserve their knowledge not in stone or books but in blood. They spread across the globe, carrying their wisdom in their very DNA. These survivors migrated to what we now know as South America, the Pacific Islands, Tibet, and parts of Africa, intermingling with local populations. They formed the seed lines of what some spiritual traditions call star seeds, or light workers. While the conscious memory of Lemuria faded, the cellular memory did not. That memory is now awakening. Chapter 2. The Global Migration, Tracking Ancient Bloodlines. When Lemuria began to dissolve, its most awakened souls didn't simply vanish. They journeyed, guided by deep intuition and inner knowing across vast oceans and rugged terrains, carrying within them a blueprint of spiritual knowledge, sacred memory, and crystalline DNA. Their exodus wasn't an escape, it was a seed-planting mission. Shuskur the Andes, sky people and light beings. One of the first destinations was the Andes. In the high mountains of Peru and Bolivia, myths still speak of sky people and light beings who brought knowledge of the stars and healing plants. The Quro people, descendants of the Inca, still carry rituals that resonate with Lemurian themes. Reverence for Pachamama, Mother Earth, harmonic chanting, energetic initiation rites that mirror vibrational practices, once used in Lemurian temples, like under Tibet, the hidden wisdom in the Tibetan highlands. Certain lineages of monks and yogis claim descent from beings who came from the lands of the setting sun. Tibetan Bon traditions speak of Shambhala, an inner-world realm of great wisdom, possibly a remnant of Lemurian culture that moved underground or ascended to higher planes. The similarities between Lemurian cosmology and early Tibetan mysticism are striking. The concept of chakras, light bodies, subtle energy systems, the Pacific Islands, living remnants. Polynesian oral traditions are rich with stories of a sunken homeland, Mu, Hiva, or Hawaii, depending on the region. These islands may be the last visible mountaintops of ancient Lemuria. The sacred chants, tattoo patterns, and star navigation techniques of the Polynesians all point to a culture deeply rooted in multidimensional understanding. Even their architecture reflects Lemurian principles, open-air temples, aligned with constellations, harmonized with water flow and volcanic energies. Burulgru, Australia, the Dreamtime Connection, Aboriginal Dreamtime stories describe ancestors who emerged from the stars and walked the land before time began. Their rock paintings depict beings with glowing heads, geometric energy lines, and portals, images eerily similar to descriptions of Lemurian light beings. Aboriginal elders say that certain bloodlines carry the original frequency of Earth, the same vibration Lemurians were said to protect and nurture. The genetic mystery modern science, though reluctant to validate such spiritual claims, has begun to stumble upon clues. Certain remote populations possess rare mitochondrial DNA markers that can't be easily traced to any known human migration pattern. The Denisovan mystery, a hominin group that shares inexplicable traits with Melanesians and Aboriginal Australians, could point to a lost genetic legacy. Could this be the shadow of Lemurian DNA? This isn't proof in the empirical sense, it's something deeper. A resonance. Important. You don't need to live in these regions to carry Lemurian blood. The migration was global. If you're watching this, there's a chance something in you remembers, because the Lemurians didn't disappear. They became us. So Chapter 3, The Activation, DNA Awakening in Modern Times. In recent decades, something extraordinary has been happening. People around the world report intense personal changes, spontaneous emotional releases, heightened intuition, vivid symbolic dreams, an unshakable feeling that something is awakening inside them. For many, these experiences can't be explained through psychology or coincidence. They describe them as spiritual. Initiations, DNA, activations, soul memory returning. Could these be signs that Lemurian bloodlines are reawakening? The cosmic trigger. According to esoteric teachings, our DNA is more than a biological instruction manual. It's a vibrational antenna capable of storing ancestral memory, spiritual potential, multidimensional consciousness. The Lemurians were believed to have 12-strand crystalline DNA, fully attuned to cosmic frequencies and Earth's electromagnetic grid. As Earth's energy field shifts through solar flares, magnetic changes, and the rising Schumann resonance, those with dormant Lemurian genetics may be experiencing spontaneous upgrades. Teaching the signs of activation. This isn't happening in isolated cases. Across continents, people with no prior knowledge of Lemuria are experiencing visions and downloads, light codes and sacred, geometrical symbols during meditation, overwhelming love, feelings that seem to come from a home they've never known but deeply remember, lifestyle transformation, rapidly rejecting toxic environments, seeking nature, adopting plant-based diets, or becoming energy healers seemingly overnight. Solar activity and consciousness. Consider the solar activity of recent years. Solar flares, bursts of electromagnetic radiation from the sun have intensified. Spiritual traditions believe the sun isn't just a heat source, but a consciousness transmitter. During solar storms, sensitive individuals report intense ascension symptoms, dizziness, anxiety, insomnia, energetic downloads. These are often dismissed as stress. But what if they're the activation of dormant codes passed down from Lemurian ancestors? The sound renaissance. Ancient Lemurians were said to use specific harmonic tones to heal, construct, and align Today we're witnessing a global renaissance in sound healing. Crystal bowls, solfeggio frequencies, binaural beats, these aren't random fads, they're rediscoveries. Keys returning to those whose souls once used them. Synchronicities and signs. Many individuals report bizarre overlaps in time, repeated numbers like Carousel, chance encounters that feel orchestrated. These aren't meaningless, they're reminders. When Lemurian energy stirs in the blood, reality begins to reflect the inner transformation. You start remembering. Time isn't linear. Life isn't accidental. Your existence carries a deeper mission. This is the activation process. It's not loud or institutional, it's personal, intuitive, and sacred. It doesn't come from outside. It emerges from within. And it's happening now, faster and more collectively than ever before. Urskar in Chapter 4. Are you a Lemurian soul? The signs and traits. How do you know if you carry Lemurian soul energy? The answer won't be found in any lab test or DNA report. It reveals itself through deep inner resonance, through emotional intelligence, inexplicable memories, and the way you see the world. If you're watching this and something within you stirs, it may be because you've already begun the path of remembrance. The core Lemurian traits: deep emotional sensitivity. Lemurian souls feel things profoundly. You may have been told you're too sensitive or too empathetic, but this isn't a flaw. It's a core Lemurian trait. These souls often absorb the emotions of others, sense energies in rooms, are naturally drawn to help, heal, or hold space for others. View a strong connection to water, nature, and stars. Lemurians were stewards of the earth, deeply connected to the ocean, crystals, and the planetary grid. If you feel at home near water, feel energized by forests and sacred sites, gaze at the stars with strange homesickness, you're aligning with your Lemurian roots. Force a yearning for unity consciousness. You may feel alienated by modern society, disturbed by its competitiveness, materialism, or isolation. Lemurian souls often long for deeper connection, spiritual community, heart-centered living. They feel called to create spaces of healing, authenticity, and cooperation, for intuitive gifts and spontaneous awakenings. Did you have psychic dreams as a child? Do you intuitively read people? Do you experience synchronicities so frequent they feel orchestrated? Lemurian energy is subtle but powerful, often bringing clairvoyance, clairaudience, healing hands, or dream communication, sense of mission without clear details. Many Lemurian souls report feeling like they're here for something important, even if they can't articulate what. This inner drive often leads them to spirituality, metaphysics, energy work, ancient wisdom traditions. It's as if a hidden program inside them is slowly being activated. A love for sacred geometry and light codes. You're drawn to symbols, patterns, mandalas, or megalithic sites not just for their beauty, but because they speak to your soul. Lemurian memories are often encoded in these forms, waiting to be remembered through resonance. The recognition. These signs aren't random. They're markers of a spiritual lineage older than history, a soul group that chose to return now, when the earth needs balance, healing, and a reawakening of heart-centered wisdom. Ask yourself, have you always felt different? Like you're not from here but here for a reason? Have you felt the rising tide within, calling you back to something ancient, sacred, and profoundly familiar? You may already be walking the Lemurian path without realizing it. The more you embrace your true essence, the more your memory and power will return. Chapter 5. The War of Consciousness. Why this awakening matters now. We must now confront the critical question: why is the Lemurian activation happening now? Why, after thousands of years of silence, are these ancient soul memories resurfacing in millions of people across the globe? The answer lies in the crossroads we face as a civilization. The Great Transition. Our world is undergoing rapid transformation. Technological, ecological, spiritual. Systems are collapsing, paradigms are shifting, and the very fabric of reality feels thinner. What we're experiencing isn't just a political or climate crisis, it's a war of consciousness. Lemurian souls are awakening because they've been here before. In Lemuria's final days, their people faced a similar choice: evolve or fall. They saw the dangers of over-intellectualization, disconnection from nature, trading harmony for control, They knew humanity would forget, repeat, and one day awaken again right at the edge of destruction. That time is now. The counterforce, the activation of Lemurian bloodlines isn't just spiritual curiosity, it's a counterforce. These souls carry codes of unity, remembrance, and planetary healing. Their very presence helps stabilize Earth's frequency. But not everyone welcomes this awakening. There's the suppression throughout history. Those in power have worked to suppress spiritual remembrance. Empires, religions, and institutions have hidden or distorted ancient truths. Why? Because awakened individuals can't be controlled. When you remember who you are, when you remember that you are not separate, not powerless, not alone, you become immune to fear-based systems. Lemurian energy is heart-centered. It doesn't seek domination. It seeks coherence. But that coherence threatens the fragmented, hierarchical structures that run our world today. Modern society encourages distraction, division, and numbness, keeping the Lemurian code dormant. The Earth's call. But here's the truth, they can't suppress the Earth herself. The Earth is vibrating higher. Magnetic poles are shifting. Time feels faster. Dreams are more vivid. Children are born with unusual gifts. We're entering what ancient mystics called a window of return, a phase when the higher templates of humanity can be restored. We're the quiet revolution. Lemurian souls are awakening not to escape this world, but to anchor a new one. This awakening isn't dramatic. It doesn't come through explosions or mass revelations. It begins in quiet moments. When someone chooses compassion over fear, when someone stops chasing status and starts seeking meaning, when someone feels an ancient memory in the ocean breeze, when someone hears a message in the rhythm of drums, this is a battle, not one fought with weapons, but with awareness. The old systems are afraid of love, of unity, of the ones who remember. You are not powerless in this. In fact, you may be one of the key carriers of this ancient frequency. The world doesn't need more control, it needs awakened hearts, steady hands, and remembering souls. So Chapter 6, Stepping into Your Role, the Lemurian Path Forward. If you've made it this far, something within you is already stirring. You didn't find this message by accident. There's a reason you're here, now at this moment in your life. You may not have all the answers yet, but deep down, you've always known you came here for something more. Lemurian souls didn't return to watch from the sidelines. They came to participate in the great rebalancing, to anchor a different frequency, to help rebuild a new reality, not through revolution, but through resonance. It's time to embrace your role in the return. Earth, the inner foundation. Lemurian energy isn't about doing more, it's about remembering more. You don't need to be perfect, enlightened, or constantly high vibe. You simply need to become honest with yourself, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. This inner alignment is the first stage of reactivation, was reconnecting with nature. Begin by reconnecting with the natural world. Walk barefoot. Listen to rivers. Meditate under moonlight. Lemurians were deeply attuned to Earth's consciousness. The more time you spend in natural settings, noticing, listening, feeling, the more your dormant codes begin to stir. Crystals, water, and light all act as accelerators. Pay attention to what you're drawn to. It's not random. Cultivating stillness. Lemurian wisdom doesn't come through force. It arrives through silence, synchronicity, and surrender. Practices like breathwork, energy healing, chanting, these open up your subtle senses. Don't seek the information. Let it come to you. You may begin to receive impressions, memories, images from another time. Trust them. Document them. These are fragments of the Lemurian map being reassembled inside you. The service and spiritual leadership. Go deeper into service. Lemurian souls aren't just here to awaken themselves, they're here to activate others. You may find yourself called to help others heal emotionally, energetically, or spiritually. You may notice that your presence calms people, or that others come to you for comfort or truth. These are signs of your field transmitting Lemurian resonance. Don't underestimate subtle acts of spiritual leadership. Your vibration, your choices, your emotional clarity, it all ripples outward. Lemurians didn't lead through dominance. They led by example, by anchoring higher consciousness in small, sacred acts. When you forgive, when you speak truth with compassion, when you choose alignment over fear, you are living the Lemurian way. Finding your soul family. You don't need a massive platform to make an impact. You are part of a spiritual grid. As more Lemurian souls awaken, they begin to find each other. You will be guided to your soul family through shared values, strange synchronicities, unexplainable magnetism. These reunions aren't coincidence, they're reconnections from a much older plan. Bunner's sacred sites and energy nodes. You may feel called to return to sacred places. On Mount Shasta, Lake Titicaca, San Uluru, ancient forests or caves in your region. These are energetic nodes where the Lemurian blueprint remains strong. Visiting these places can trigger memory release, trauma healing, and gift activation. But even if you can't travel, you can connect to these sites through intention, meditation, and visualization. Distance is no barrier to energy. And the collective mission? Remember, you are not alone. The Lemurian return is not a solo mission. It's a collective reawakening. And it's accelerating. Every time you honor your sensitivity instead of suppressing it, act with integrity rather than fear, choose love over control, you are bringing the Lemurian frequency back into the world. This is the mission. Not to escape this earth, but to help heal it. Not to transcend humanity, but to elevate it. Not to look backward, but to carry the essence of Lemuria forward into the next golden age. And that begins with one choice: to remember who you are. Closing, the call to remember. As we come to the close of this journey, remember this: the Lemurians never truly left. Their wisdom, their energy, and their legacy live within you, encoded in your cells, whispered in your soul's deepest memories. This awakening is not a coincidence. It is a call to remember, to heal, and to act. The path of the Lemurian bloodline is one of love, unity, and stewardship. It's about reconnecting to the earth, to the stars, and most importantly, to each other. When you feel the pulse of ancient truth stirring inside, do not shy away. Lean in, explore it, share it. This is your invitation to become a conscious carrier of the Lemurian code, to awaken the dormant light within and illuminate the path forward, not just for yourself, but for the collective. Your next step, if you recognize these signs in yourself, or if this message resonated deeply, I invite you to share your experiences. Let's build a community rooted in ancient wisdom and modern awakening. The Lemurian awakening is real, and it's happening now. Remember, the past is alive inside you, and the future depends on how you answer the call. The return has begun.